Hello fellow gamers and welcome once again to my SimCity video tutorials. In my previous 4 videos we have totally planned out one city in this region. We planned out its resources, its road network, zoning and its utilities. Now we are going to actually create this region again, but this time it is not going to be sandbox, it is going to be a normal mode and we are going to make it private so that only I can play on it. I'm going to name this region Lakeside Road. We are going to claim the same city plot we have used before in our plans, and now we are actually going to start building here. Pause the game so that we don't waste any in-game time, and now start the same way we started before. Now the difference is this time we are going to use very cheap roads. We're not going to give too much money for the roads because we would go bankrupt very quickly considering what our plan looks like. Now if you haven't seen the previous videos, I would advise you to now pause this one and go to my channel and watch the other 4 videos first. Then come back so you know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. I'm going to start as cheap as I can. I'm going to use this low density street, a circular road setup, making a runabout right here. Now I want to see which road will cost me the least amount. If I want to make this bridge here, this bridge here and the tunnel that would go by using this hole, that would cost me a lot. If I would want to go on this side and then use this bridge up here, that would also cost me a lot. But I think I could use this way through here. Maybe not go over the oil too much. Go up here. Yeah, that's not gonna cost too much. Now I'm just gonna use some cheap road and get my power station up and running. As you know from the previous videos, if you have watched those, I'm going to use a wind power station because it's cheap and it has only about 2-3 starting megawatts, and that's more than enough for your start. Okay, let the time pass because I have connected the roads and now we can use these buildings. Now that was too little space, need to give it some more. I like that. Yep. Let's go up. Come on. Don't be like that. Don't fight me on it. Ah, come on. Finally. There we go. And now we have enough room to place as many of these as we want without taking up valuable space. It's already at a premium considering how the map looks like. There should be plenty of space. Now I have left here enough room for these oil drills later on and also an oil refinery right here. Now that we have power set up, we need to look for the water. Here we go. So let's see, follow this, that, push it up, go down, and use a water tower. See, we start from out here. Okay, switch. We said we were going to use that corner of the map here for the switch, but we first need to get there with some road. From, let's say, here. This is later on going to be an avenue, so I'm going to make sure to leave enough room on the left and the right side of this road in order to be able to create an avenue. Let's go here. And as you know from my previous videos, I said I was going to use this part of the coal to extract in the beginning, so I'm going to be careful where I'm placing this road. Say like this. There we go, that's enough room. And now taking this road all the way up. One sewage outflow pipe. We're going to turn it off for now, because there's no need for it at the start of the game, only water and power. We are going to build a garbage dump later on over here, as we have planned before. And let's see. Yeah, we didn't spend too much. We still have enough to zone. Now, this is all going to be residential over here, right up until here. This is going to be the coal mine. Our industry for the start of the game is going to go here. So I'm going to extend this road to the edge of the map. And this is where I will be zoning industry. Now, sorry. Now I need to connect these two roads so that we can have workers. They can also choose to go down this road or this. Now let's try to be careful about where we zone. We don't want to get too close to the coal deposits, but we also want to use as much space as we can. This looks like we could use it as a starting point. Now, I'm not sure whether holding shift will provide a straight line, because this is already a hill, but hopefully it will. Now we're just going to follow the guides, see just how far can we go. Yeah, not that far. About... Actually, yeah, we can go this far. Continue zoning like this. So now all these people are going to go into the street. We are going to later on have another street parallel to this, and everybody who lives here and here will go into this street. They are not going to use this street, so that we do not have any four-way intersections, and that not too many people will use the same streets. And later on, once this becomes an avenue, we are probably going to separate it right about here, so that people can only go down here and up here. Now we should probably expand this as well. This is also going to be an avenue later on. We'll go up to here. Now, since avenue is a bit thicker than these roads, if this is going to be two high density buildings, if this was an avenue and this was an avenue, then I need to leave some more room here. Let's say we give this, just so we can have another mark, and then we pull this. Are we using it? Yes. Can go. Let's not spend too much money. Right about here. and we can follow these guides. We're gonna go up to the intersection and not into the intersection. $7,000 left. Now, since there is going to be a road like this going down and connecting this part of the city with this one up here, I'm not going to put this straight all the way to the end, but I should actually leave a marker for that, like this. Now here I'm going to leave for the town hall, the hospital, the fire station, the police station, the school, and I want that centralized right here so that it can service these people later on, these people later on. That means that I can use this part here for some more housing. Now I would like to avoid having a four-way intersection here, so these people are actually going to go into this street here. That's a bit weird. There we go. Maybe a little bit more. That should do. Now that we have made our road connections and our road network, we can start zoning for residential and commercial. Now for the start, you can use control and then just delete what you don't need. Oops, that would be a bit too much. Over here. I may actually leave this one unzoned. Because this is going to turn into an avenue and there will not be enough room here for these buildings to turn into high density. But for the start of the game, since avenue will probably come much later on, I should zone it just so that I can have a few more people living in my city at the start of the game. Now, this is all residential at the moment. We need to turn some of these parts into commercial so that these people have jobs and places to shop. You can use this part here. Now you want to make sure to place your commercial inside these parts where there is enough residential, because you do not wish for people to use cars. You want them to walk to work and to walk to shop. You don't want them using cars because that's going to create too much traffic. Now another thing that you have to think about is your wealth. At the moment we have no buildings, no parks, so wealth here is low. Now at the start of the game you don't actually need that many high wealth or medium wealth workers, but as you start building your industry, as you start building your civil buildings, your utilities, your services, the requirements for medium wealth citizens and high wealth citizens is going to go up. So you may wish to plan ahead for that. There's also another consideration. When you have high wealth and low wealth and medium wealth in your city, they all work in different places. For example, some medium wealth will also work in low wealth commercial. Some low wealth will work in medium wealth commercial. Some high wealth will also work in some medium wealth commercial, and some low and medium wealth residents will work in high wealth commercial. So if you, for example, make this part high wealth, this part medium wealth, and this part low wealth, that means that these people are going to have to drive to work all the way here, while these people are going to have to drive all the way here. So you want to try and mix those wealth levels. Now that's easier said than done, because your road network is such that you're going to be using these grids, and they are using a setup with right angles, while the parks they give you a circular land value. So that's going to present a bit of a problem, like trying to push a triangle through a circular hole. Any services buildings that I place in here and the town hall are going to give off something like low and medium wealth land value. That means that if I were to put any parks here, that would connect and this would turn into medium. If I were to put any medium or high wealth parks here, that would connect all the way there and this would all turn into medium and high wealth, which is not what you want in the beginning. You want only a little bit of high wealth, some more medium wealth, and the rest to be low wealth. So I'm going to try and avoid having this to turn into medium wealth or this. So I'm just going to try and use some high wealth parks right over here to try and make some high wealth buildings here. Around them are going to be some medium wealth buildings, and this part will hopefully mostly stay in low wealth. Now you want to do this before you actually place the commercial, because you want to see where the land value is going to go up. For example, if I were to first have gone with continued doing this commercial on this side of the street, and if I were to accidentally expand the land value too much all the way here, I would end up with medium shops here, low wealth citizens here, and medium wealth citizens here, which would mean that they would have to go all the way around into these shops, which would be medium, while these low wealth citizens wouldn't have any shops. That is why I have to first think about where am I going to have these high wealth parks. Now, why am I using high wealth parks? Because once you place a high wealth park, it extends its own range of happiness and land value and creates something like low or medium. But once that intersects with another land value produced by another park or a building, it will then increase from medium to high wealth land value, which means that you need at least two parks that are going to have their area of effect connected and turn into high wealth. Around them, it's going to be medium wealth. So you don't actually need any parks to create medium wealth. You're just going to create medium wealth by first creating high wealth, and everything that's going to be a bit farther away is going to turn into medium wealth. Since I have decided not to have residential here later on, it will just be here for now. This is going to be an avenue, which means this will not be enough room for residential to grow to medium or high density. So I'm going to use this part here to increase my land value. Now, since, as I said before, these are going to be some buildings that are going to give off medium value, like the town hall, fire station, the clinic, police station, a school. So I want to put my parks here and here. That way they're going to intersect with this, create medium wealth like this, while there will be high wealth over here. Now you may find yourself not managing to intersect these lines correctly, and maybe we'll have to bulldoze them and try again, but even though it's a waste of money, you need to do something like that, because you need to be able to control where the high wealth, the low wealth, and the medium wealth is going to be at the start of a game. Let's see how will this turn out. Let's see here, and now as you can see, this is the lowest wealth possible. This is something that only gives a bit of extra happiness to the low wealth people, but as you make it like this, now you see these two, by intersecting with each other, have created high wealth. By intersecting on the outer edge, they have created medium wealth, and by interconnecting out here, actually this is the place where they haven't interconnected, which means it was left to be just low wealth increasing happiness. Now this means that any buildings made here are going to be high wealth, and now you have to think about leaving some of these buildings to turn into shops. Now since there is here enough room for these villas and they're not going to be able to expand down here, I'm going to use the lower part for these shops. while the upper part is going to be enough for at least 4 villas. That means actually that I could use a villa here as well and try to make the commercial high value here. They might not go high wealth, but that's okay. One should suffice. Now, first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to think about where my avenues are going to be. They're going to be here, but as I said before, I will leave these people for now here, so that I just have some more people in the beginning, because it's low wealth and low density, and it takes up a lot of space to have a lot of people. But anything close to this road and anything close to this road will have to be unzoned so that it can turn into an avenue later on. Now, when you think about that, you actually realize that I made a mistake here. If this is going to be an avenue, then this road is too close here for any type of high density. So later on we are going to have to correct this mistake and move these two roads more to the left. And I think there is just enough space going from here to here for a high density. Now there is a way for you to check that by using this kind of park, because its length is about as much as it is for a high density building. So as you can see, I can move this road about here and this road about here. That means that once this turns into an avenue, there will be enough room from here to here for a high density building. It's a mistake, it happens, especially when you have to plan for a low density city to turn into a medium density city, and then later on turn into a high density city, all the while thinking where you should put what. And for example, I could make a biggest mistake and, for example, place some high value building like a police station or a clinic on one of these roads, because I'm going to have to be destroying them later on. And if I do place a clinic here, that means that I'm going to have to bulldoze it when I bulldoze this road. That's one of the annoying things in SimCity, because everything that is on a road will be bulldozed when you bulldoze a road. I mean, somewhat it makes sense, somewhat it doesn't. Now to get back to unzoning these roads, I want to move away from this road because it's going to be an avenue later on, and I don't want to have to destroy too many buildings, so I can just move these people away. Now it's definitely easier to just unzone than rather destroy people's buildings, people's homes later on. That's more than enough room. Now I need to also use some of this room to turn into commercial. Now as far as you can see, now all of these people, what happened here? Interesting. We want to make some commercial either on the outside or the inside. Now that's a good question, because if you're going to have some medium wealth citizens working in these shops, if you place them on the outer edge, that means that whoever comes from medium wealth to work in this low wealth, okay, let me place it so that you don't have to imagine what I'm saying. If these turn into low wealth, and they will, low wealth shops, these medium wealth workers are probably going to be required at least 1 or 2 workers to work here. If you place this commercial here, that means that they have to go after this intersection all the way to the end and go in. If you place it on the start of the intersection, that means they are only going to go inside. Now there's also another thing. If you want to place bus stops, you at the start of the game, if you place them on these roads that are going to turn into avenue, bus stops or school stops, that means you're going to be destroying this road, and when you destroy it, you're going to destroy those bus stops as well. But the trick is, a bus stop or a school bus stop, I can't use any of them yet. If you place it here, that means that all of these people and all of these people will most likely walk all the way here. But as I said, you're going to be destroying this later on, so you're going to be wasting that money. But if you use bus stops in here, that means your buses will always have to turn into these streets, go in all the way, make a U-turn, come out, then go into this one, and that's going to increase the amount of time they're going to spend running around and not picking up people. Now, that could be a big problem later on, and you would like to try to avoid that. So that means that you're better off wasting that money for the stations on these roads and then deleting them and making them again later on, than having to waste time for buses and school buses to go each and every street. I know I'm constantly digressing from what I'm doing, but it's also interconnected, that you simply have to go and visit every topic as it comes up. So we don't need too much commercial at the start. They're gonna be happy with only a little bit, and later on, as it grows in density, they're going to even be more happier and not take up too much space. Because as you know, as Sims go and shop, they get happiness. As they get happiness, they level up and go from low density to medium density. You need about 36 happiness for a low density building to turn into a medium density building. Now we are going to use the same template on all of these streets. Except of course here, where we said we want to leave enough room for 4 mansions. This part here can be left for medium vault. So we are gonna keep going up, and we are just going to use this part here for some medium vault shops. Now I could have also used all this space right now, because like I said before, these are not going to be avenues anytime soon, but I don't like having to create so many housing or commercial and then having to destroy it and move it, because if I have, for example, did commercial right here and then started off with residential over here, that means that later on when I destroy this commercial, there wouldn't be enough room left from the residential to place commercial again and have enough room. I would have had to destroy these residential in order to expand these commercial. Now what you need to also remember is that whenever a building is placed here and you have zoned it as that, the zoning will remember the happiness level and the density level. So if you have residential zoned and you destroy some low density buildings that you saw that could develop to medium density or high density, but a few of the houses were happy enough, a few weren't, and if you destroy the ones that are not happy, the ones that are happy are going to develop. But if you turn that zone of residential into commercial, it is not going to remember the happiness level. So if you are now turning residential that was at high happiness and could go all the way to high density and turn it into a commercial zone, that commercial is not going to go up to high density at once. It is going to go through all the levels, low, medium and high. That should do it for them. Now, since I do have some money remaining, I could fix my mistake right now than later on. So I used this one, so this time I'm going to use this one. And I might have just made a mistake again. Yep, I made the same mistake again. That's a bit annoying. I went too far. Should have just went a little bit and not that far. Hopefully I won't have to do it for the third time. Yes, this time I did it correctly. Now to unzone this, and this. So this, oh, I forgot to unzone this part here. Because this is also going to be an avenue. And now we come to another mistake. Right here you can see, in order for this to be a villa, I have to leave that much room. But I have also made these things right here that is going to limit the amount of space. So if I unzone this here in order to have an avenue later on here, I'm not going to have enough room for a villa. Well, I seem to have left just enough money so I could redo these guys. 400, 400, 800. Okay, it's gonna be enough. Yes, I know I just wasted a few thousand on my mistakes, but it's inevitable. I would like to not have to redo them twice. So let's be careful about this. We want just right next to that 3. Like that. Yep. And my mistake has just gone oh, it's actually gonna be okay. I thought for a second that it's going to expand medium. Well, right here, just what I was talking about earlier, but it's gonna be okay because I haven't zoned anything close. There we go. Now this will have enough room to turn into, hopefully, a villa without taking up this space. And now just to finish zoning here. Now, if you're going to expand this upwards, and we are, then that means that we should put the commercial in the middle. Now, why in the middle if over here I put it on the end? Well, because if I'm going to have another part of the street, it's going to be this long. That means that if I put it on this end, these people here are probably not going to want to walk all the way there into commercial. So I'm going to have the commercial in the middle, right here. That way these people from here can walk in the middle to the commercial, and these people from here can walk in here to the commercial. Now I may end up moving this a bit up or maybe even down, depending on what this looks like later on. I'm never happy with these ends because sometimes they give you only a little bit, like for example, no, here's an example, you see, just a small one that will allow it to go onto this road and not onto this road. But sometimes you get something like this, and there is a chance that somebody will make a house exiting onto this road. I mean, it's not such a big problem at the start of the game, but it's kind of annoying because then when he wants to go high medium density, he's gonna wanna go to this road. Well, this person here will want to go to this road. Then you have to destroy this building to allow this guy, and then that guy is not going to be close enough to the edge. He's gonna take up more space. This is gonna end up empty, and so on and so on. And I think this video has gone long enough, and there's just so many details to talk about, so I'm going to continue this in the next video. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more.